Draymond loves talking about some hot takes.
Yeah.
If you're on as a guest, he gonna bring up something.
Yeah.
Just casually. Isaiah Thomas's comments towards him.
I loved what he said about
KD?
we all talk about the KD stuff, and we talk about it in a negative way.
But he said it right to his face, and he said it respectfully.
But I didn't even think about. Listen, as someone that I'm obsessed with basketball, I've never even thought about it. Like KD is, you look at him like he piggybacked on some rings. They just lost down 3-1, first time ever in the finals with the best record in NBA history. 2016 was historic for so many reasons, right? You have the best record of all time, and then you lose for the first time ever, up 3-1 in the finals. That could have been the end of the Warriors. Like, they could have been down. With the Rockets coming up, everything that was going on.
Here's the deal. It wouldn't have been the end because even when KD left, they went 2 years later when nobody thought they were. And that was at the end of their prime. So
yeah, but that Rockets team, though.
The Rockets maybe could have gotten.
If you're going game 7 with KD, you're winning that without KD.
That year, but the next year, remember KD went down. We still lost. They came in Houston and Curry fried us.
Yeah,
so it's just
right.
like, we got to take it easy. I'm
talking about coming off that loss, though, that devastating loss.
Yeah, that was
if they
tough.
went back in with that same team, I don't know if they would have lost Harrison Barnes to the Mavs. I don't know what would have went down there, but if they would have came back with that same team.
No, yeah, things could have definitely changed. It's interesting just due to the fact that. Listen, there's truth in his words. There's truth in his words. I respect that he said it to his face. He said, "Hey man, listen, I say this with the utmost respect." So he said, anytime someone says this, just for everyone listening, anytime someone tells you before they tell you something, and listen, I hope you don't take this the wrong way.
Or with all due respect.
And with all due respect, they're getting ready to probably disrespect this shit out of you. Or say something along the lines that you're just not gonna like.
Yeah.
And he said both. He said, in all due respect, and I hope you don't take this the wrong way. He said, essentially, KD is what made y'all a dynasty. And without KD, you could have been a team that just maybe won 1 or 2 championships. Because the way y'all lost in that type of a dramatic of a fashion usually breaks up teams. People fall apart after collapses like that. Usually people get fired.
And on the flip side, the Cavs had probably all the confidence. Like if LeBron went up against that Warriors team next year without a KD, he's probably like, I kind of own these guys.
It would have been a whole different series.
Yeah.
So
maybe Kyrie stays with the Cavs.
I mean, now we're rewriting history here.
Yeah, Back to the Future too. It's a whole different path.
I think Kyrie still leaves because there was something emotionally there that Kyrie wanted for himself that he wasn't getting in Cleveland. He later come back and said he regretted that ultimately. Yeah. But I think at that time he felt he wanted to do it on his own instead of just riding out as Batman. We talk about it all the time in life. Knowing your role could change your life. That applies even for all-stars and superstars. Kyrie's one of the best basketball players to ever play.
Yeah.
He should be a top 75. A lot of that was political. We all know that. For better or worse, they got to eventually they're going to have to rectify that. Kyrie Irving not being a top 75 basketball player of all time.
He might have to wait 25 years for the top 100.
Yeah, it's silly. Yeah. It's silly, man. He belongs in there. He just does. It would help if he won one more, but the team that he's on, that's not going to happen. Dallas is good, but they're not winning a championship.
Even though they have the second coming of Will Chamberlain and Daniel Gafford.
You saw he missed last night finally.
Oh, he did?
Yeah,
I didn't see that. No wonder I didn't see all the posts about it today.
The record's 35. Yeah. He missed at attempt 34. Do you want to know what he missed? He missed a layup.
No.
And the whole bench goes, you can see everybody, you can see Daniel running down the court like, fuck.
He missed 34.
Yeah, it was a tough shot though. He grabbed the rebound over Chet.
Yeah, but you thought he wouldn't take a tough shot at this point. Lobs only.
Yeah, he grabbed a rebound over Chet. Chet's in front. They're like down 6 with like 3 minutes left. Yeah. So he's like, they're trying to win. Chet's in front of him, like tries to go around. It was a tough shot. So it wasn't easy.
Wow.
It was makeable, but it was Chet altered
Chet protecting Wilt's legacy is crazy.
Yeah,
didn't have that one on the bingo card.
That's impressive though. Shout out to Daniel Gafford, man. What a start for Dallas to be, playing like that.
Well, we talked about Derek Lively and now Daniel Gafford. If you're a big, you want to play with a guy like Luka.
100%.
Yeah.
That's what, we always talk about it. Again, knowing your role can save your life. Knowing, putting your ego aside.
Well, that's also just opportunity. You're on a team where, you're on a team with Jordan Poole and Kuzma. You're not getting any lobs. And then you go to Luka. It's just like all of a sudden you look like Tyson Chandler. It's just like a different.
But that's my point, though.
Yeah.
Playing with a certain player, if this guy makes me better, then just like write it out. Put your ego aside. Do whatever you got to do to stay there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like fucking, DeAndre Jordan was brilliant with the Clippers, bro.
Yeah.
Fucking like all-star USA gold medal. This guy was like first making all NBA teams, like defensive teams. It was all coming for him.
Yeah.
And then the relationships grew sour.
Right.
It was a wrap after that.
Then you got a guy like Clint Capella who got to play with James Harden and then Trae Young. He's
Listen,
just catching lobs his whole career.
It's real simple, man. It's real simple.
Yeah.
Unless you are a superior post-game player that they throw the ball to and you can go score.
Like a Jill Okafor.
And there was only a few at this time because, again, the league was changing. We saw the success of the Warriors. So it was like dinosaurs, right? We saw like DeMarcus Cousins and a couple other guys, which obviously DeAndre Jordan wasn't that type of player. He was a different type of player.
Yeah.
If you know this, then you know you have to be with a really good point guard because everything has to be spoon-fed to you. You have to be a finisher, a lob catcher, pick and roll player, great pick and roll player. Amari Stoudemire was great with the Knicks. I liked him with Phoenix better.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I like a lot of these guys I like the duo. David West was always good. He was good with Indiana. Great career. I liked it with New Orleans with Chris those last years. I like Tyson Chandler with Chris Paul. I like Clint Capella with Chris Paul. I like Clint with Trae Young. Without Trae, it's going to be different out there. That's why we talk about Wembanyama so good.
We would love Wemby.
That's why we love Wembanyama because he has both. He can get points. He scores everything on his own right now.
Well, he can go to the 3-point. He can go deep.
He's doing everything. Yeah. That's what's so impressive. We're like, yo, this dude Victor is scoring, and it's like all self-made. This guy has to go out there and just make his own magic. Let's get him a point guard to get him like 12 points a game easy. Couple dishes, couple mid-range. Now he gets fouled, some free throws. That's like 10 points. Now we're talking about this guy's averaging 27, 28. We got a superstar in our hands.
Right.
That's why it's so important that San Antonio gets a point guard. But yeah, it's knowing, who to play with and who not. Daniel Gafford definitely looks great playing with Luka. How did we get here? What were we even talking about? We got so off topic with this.
I don't even remember, but playing with like a guy like Trae Young or playing with like Luka is like being like a running back for the Denver Broncos like in the early 2000s. Just like you could plug anyone in, any center right now with those guys. Yeah. You're going to look great. And
I think we're talking about Kyrie. Did we start with Kyrie? We were talking about Kyrie and
no, we're talking about KD going to the. Thank you for bringing us back. The Kyrie to the Dallas Mavericks to I don't even know, like the backup centers for the Atlanta Hawks.
But to finally come back to the original point, to put a bow on this, Isaiah hit it on the head.
Yeah.
Now, to disagree with him in some aspects, I don't think the Warriors would have collapsed. They won a couple years after KD left anyway, okay?
That's a different team. That was Andrew Wiggins. It was a whole...
But that's what they would have done, though. They would have just rebranded their team, right? I mean, right after... If KD would have left like he did anyway, they would have won because they didn't win. It happened. You know what I mean? Like, you can't argue something that happened.
You're right.
They won without KD. They won before KD.
It's just... I like that
the concept that they were pretty damn good.
I just thought that there was a different way to look at KD going to the Warriors. That's
all. And that is where Isaiah's right, what you're saying. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Because he did make y'all like unbeatable, bro.
Right.
He did. This was y'all's dynasty. Maybe it's not called dynasty. Maybe like, remember that? Because we don't call it the Pistons dynasty. They just won a couple. Chauncey won one that couple years, then they ran it back the next year. They're really good in that time period, right? Dynasties when you won 3 or more is when they start calling it a dynasty, right? And that's what happened. They won 4. What Isaiah is saying is, I can't not give y'all credit. Y'all won the first one without him, dominant team. And y'all won after he left, dominant team. I'll give y'all credit for that. But let's not act. And by the way, they were only able to get Wiggins and all these other guys because KD departed. They had a lot to get off. Yeah. So if KD would have never went there in the first place, they might not have ever had players like Wiggins. It would have just been that team falling off. That was his point too. You can't say like, because a part of it's like, well, they went without KD. Yeah, because they got a lot for them.
Right. KD didn't just go. They got the D-Lo.
Yeah, they got the D-Lo.
Wiggins,
they got this. They got this, which led to this, which led to, they got a lot for this dude, bro.
Yeah.
So if KD would have never went there, they would have just been, guys would have been leaving because they can't afford everybody, and it would have been a little different out there. Especially after the 73-9 season and a 3-1 loss. I don't know if y'all talk, listen, y'all want to talk about 3-1 with my father. A lot of times when that happens, or when that happens in general, it's hard to come back from that. When the Spurs lost that championship in Miami and they weren't up 3-1, but when they were up in that game and the next thing you know, Ray Allen stepping back and hitting the 3, everyone knew they weren't winning Game 7. When you have something like just crushing and you fold under pressure like that loss did, they were pushing the stands out underneath. I saw the championship. They're pushing the stage out. They're getting ready to drop the confetti. The Spurs people on the bench were like, yo, we won another one. TD, you got another one. I was like, damn, people in Miami were leaving. When they won, everyone's like, you could see it in their face. They lost game 7 already. It was a wrap. When we lost 3, when Houston came back, we had to go back to Houston and play in that 7-game series when I was with the Clippers. Man, we had no shot winning that game. I could see it on some of the guys' faces. I'm not going to say no names. But we walked in there and I could see guys on people's, I saw faces on people that we counted on. And it was a wrap, bro. Yeah. It's hard to come back. And Isaiah was like, yo, 73-9, all-time record-winning season, you have to win. Then you're up 3. You had both things happen to you. Not only was 73-9, you were up 3-1 in the final. You had both, and you lost.
Yeah. And they went 7 games in the conference finals too. So it was like a weird sort of ending to the playoffs for them.
And by the way, you were down 3-1 versus the Thunder. Yeah. The Thunder should have beat y'all.
Yeah.
They collapsed. So it was like you weren't like the superior dominant team at that point.
During the regular season, dominant.
They were though. That's true.
That was actually wild. That was a wild.
Now that you say that, they were the superior team. 73-9 is by all means the definition of superior. So I take my comment back. You're absolutely right.
Do you think Michael Jordan and LeBron, the GOAT debate, that LeBron could say, well, I beat a 73-9 team? Michael Jordan's like, I was on a 72-10 team. LeBron beat a 73-9 team.
They did miss Draymond for the one game.
But but then LeBron had 40. The next game, when Draymond played in game 6, LeBron had 40. Like,
yeah, he wasn't stopping him in it. Yeah. But he is important for their team and their success. Yeah, but I hear what you're saying. But yeah, he was still there for a part of the 3-1 though. So, it is what it is. But I'll say this. That loss really put them in a weird place. Kevin came, bro, and it was just like every single thing that they had just got swept under the rug, bro. He covered up all their mistakes. He's just, that was prime, bro. By the way, this is like the peak of Kevin Durant's career, bro. It's like when he was at his best. That's when people were like, is he better than LeBron? In the finals matchup, he's fucking frying, bro. Yeah.
Listen, you know more basketball than me. When KD's out there and he has the 2 best shooters of all time on each side.
It became 1-on-1.
Yeah, but it's a little different though. And like LeBron has the ball and
100%.
You see Iguodala, Clay, Draymond, all these guys like line up in front of you.
Yeah, LeBron has like the whole team against him. Where like KD's out there. What essentially happened, because LeBron's a better player than Kevin Durant. He always has been. No one's arguing that. But offensively as a scorer, Kevin Durant's a much better scorer. I know LeBron scored many more points, but if we're talking about pure scorer, Kevin Durant's a better scorer.
I think you have Kevin Durant as your best scorer of all time.
I think if we're talking pure scoring, he's one for me.
Because people used to always do the Melo stuff.
Melo's up there too, by the way.
No, I know, for sure.
We're talking pure scoring, guys. I don't care about the all-time scores.
And you don't like the way it looks, but James Harden was getting some talk. They were talking about him as an offensive machine.
He was an offensive machine in Houston. You might not like the way it looks, but he was that nonetheless. And what happened is we took that guy, Kevin Durant, one of the best lethal scorers of all time, and you put him on a team where you couldn't help. So it was just ISO Kevin, but you're guarding this dude. People were hugging Clay and Steph like, brother, I can't leave him. You have no help. You have no help.
KD went from Cephalosha and Westbrook on the wings to
Cephalosha, Robertson, and Westbrook. Yeah. He was frying people with no shooting around him.
100%.
And then he goes to Golden State with the greatest shooting in the history of the game with a .4 looking. You couldn't stop him.
Right.
You couldn't beat him. You had to be perfect. You had to be perfect. You had to play perfect to beat him. That was Isaiah's point, man. He goes, and we always look at it as the other side, which is true, that KD left a team that he was up 3-1 on against and dipped on and went to the better team. And it's people don't like that, for better or worse, okay? Because it looks a certain way. And he goes, a lot of that criticism is fair to KD. But just because of that, let's not overshadow and be like, come on now. Let's not act like KD didn't make them what they were.
Right.
Without KD, they would have been a very good team during that time period, like we talk about with a Detroit or this is that. We talk about dynasties. We always talk about Warriors. Kevin is a big part of that.
We could agree also, without KD doing that, LeBron definitely at least gets another one.
That's something. History has changed because of this decision. So Isaiah made great points at the end of the day. He is right. There's other ways to look at him going to the Warriors other than negative. You know, I mean, we sometimes, God, we're as us as a whole, as a basketball culture of fans, I think sometimes we're so bad with Kevin. Like, you just don't appreciate how good of a scorer he is. So, yeah, for sure.